Boom! Welcome back to another episode, second episode of Cut That Shit Out, man. Ben, why don't you get it started for us today? There's a lot to talk about, guys. I mean, a lot to talk about too close to home, right here in Orange County, California. Ben, what you got for us?
So, most importantly, there are protests going on right now in Huntington Beach. It is so close to home that it is literally 15 minute drive from the beach to my place. And they gathered from the beach and they would, this actually happened this started 2 weeks ago when I was just staying at home and doing homework. There are about 20 cars, and they're all white, and they're driving around the neighborhoods, honking the horn. All 20 cars, they're honking their horns, and they're driving around the neighborhoods, around the park, and kind of like, and they got kids in the cars, and they got signs in the car that said that we need to open up California, and they've been doing that about 4 or 5 times, like by now already. So, what do you guys think about that? Have you guys been in any interaction? Have you guys seen any active protests?
Well, living in Huntington Beach myself, I see it
There we
all.
go.
But most of them really I'm gonna say it because it's the truth. They're all Trump supporters,
Mhm.
right? Because they all have the Trump flags and they're saying "Open America up," you're killing the economy. They're carrying assault rifles with them out here in Huntington Beach, and they're all in cop faces, right? But picture this: if it was a minority with an assault rifle, like somebody would have been put down already, right?
Mhm.
So these people are way out of hand. They're breaking social distancing, so the risk is gonna go even higher because now you have thousands, not hundreds, thousands of people gathered together, and they're just gonna spread the freaking virus, and somebody's gonna catch it, and then all it takes is one, and one, two, three, and then it's like a domino effect.
Mhm.
So it's just they're not thinking, they're not thinking straight.
Mhm. I haven't had it like particularly in my street like you did, Ben, but like in Orange on the 27th of April on Monday, so just about a week from today that we're recording, right there at the Circle of Orange, like not too far from where I live, there was protesters right there in the little epicenter with their signs, people in cars, and basically like they blocked traffic because it's a roundabout, so there was enough cars and people on foot just to kind of like do their protests and blah blah blah, and kind of I saw videos of it too, and this is so it's just like right down the street. Like I ride my bike through there a lot of the times too, and so it's kind of crazy to see that kind of stuff. And like Max said too, a lot of them are Trump supporters, a lot of them are white, a lot of them have the MAGA hats, and it just seems like there's a huge like misunderstanding and big disconnect. And just to go back to the Huntington Beach part, I mean Huntington Beach saw the worst of it Friday, first day of May, because California Governor Gavin Newsom, he closed down beaches. I believe it was the last day of April, or towards the last couple of days of April, because the past couple of weekends, I'm sure you guys saw photos, right, or on the news, there was
Hmm.
thousands. There was an estimated, what is it, 40,000 people
48,000 people.
at Orange County beaches and Los Angeles beaches, which is not good. Like this is not. I know the weather's good and it feels like a nice day to go to the beach, but we are in a pandemic time, and so people feel entitled to go to the beach, and that's why he closed the beaches. But that led to a lot of upset people.
That's the thing. Like you can't make everybody happy. People are always going to be upset. People are bless you. People are always going to be sad. People are going to be depressed. People are going to go through crap. Like that's the way the freaking world turns. But in a time like this, where they're not saying it just to like bully you or belittle you, they're telling you this because of health issues, health reasons, because people are dying from this, right? I was watching this video on Facebook. I think it was 2 days ago, and this dad was crying, and he said coronavirus killed his kid, but not in the way we think, right? It's because his kid had no way to go out to burn energy, so he was stuck inside the house playing games all night. And then he broke his TV, so he got mad. He killed himself, right?
Oh shit.
So you think about that. The more we stay home, the faster we get through this. Even though I know it's not gonna go away all the way, but the faster we get through it, the faster these kids could get back outside and do what they need to do to burn the energy that they need to burn. You know, But you bringing your kids to a rally, that's what I'm calling it, a rally. It's not a protest, it's a rally.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring your kids to a rally with thousands of people gathered, what do you expect? Their immune system is weaker than ours.
Mm-hmm.
What are you expecting is going to happen?
Like they all look so young too. Like when, like the first day that I remember when they were protesting by my street, like I remember looking into the car and the kids were so young. They look so small. Like they're about like 3 and 4, and they're not even in a booster seat. They they're jumping out of the what's that called? The
Window.
moonroof?
Oh yeah.
No, windows too. But the sunroof, like it's wild. Like what's worse about the situation about our governor Newsom trying to close the beaches is that these people are actually filing a lawsuit against the governor itself for closing the beach. And I'm sorry to break this to everybody that is listening to this podcast, but that is the epitome of white privilege right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I couldn't have said it better.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no better way to put it. I mean, California, we know like is one of the nicer places to live in. A lot of people want to live in California, especially where we, not necessarily maybe the parts of the Orange County where we're from, but there's a lot of people in Orange County with a lot of money and a lot of power, and they feel entitled. And like you said, man, there's no better way to put it. I wish there was a better word for it, but at the end of the day, like that white privilege, it just shows how people are sometimes they're ignorant, man, and they can't even understand. I think I was talking about it with my girlfriend the other day. If this was as bad as like the Black Plague, you know, where it was wiping out a higher percentage of people, because right now the percentage is still small. I looked up the statistics before we started recording. 53,000 cases in California, only 2,100 deaths. So a very small percentage of people who actually catch the coronavirus are passing away. But I mean, if this was any higher, or if we were getting like invaded by like a country, or you know what I mean, let's like if this was just a different scenario, people would be willing to say the fucking side. It's because we can't see COVID-19, right? It's a virus that has no visible or tangible thing that we can see. So people are just thinking, oh, like it's fine, we should be fine. And you know, I think too, it goes to show like when people have money and power and they're used to getting what they want, they just think, oh, like we don't have to listen to the governor, we don't have to listen to law authorities and that kind of shit. And it's whack, you know?
Well, here's the thing, right? It's a virus, right? What happens when virus finds something to attach itself to, like something strong? Like it's almost like having a nuclear reaction, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the virus finds another virus and they both connect. Now what happens? It becomes stronger. Like let's just say the second round of it comes stronger. Like, let's say if you're suffering from some kind of health issue and it's virus related, and then that virus, the coronavirus attaches itself to that virus. Now what happened? It becomes something stronger, right? So you're potentially creating a second wave of a virus that could have been like slowly declining already. So now you're increasing the thing, because the people who have bronchitis, who have pneumonia, who have all those kind of health issues, the older generation who are on ventilators, all that. Now, what are you doing to them? You're putting them at risk. You're putting our younger generation at risk, you know, because you're all outside.
Mm-hmm.
Protesting against a virus too. That I think that's the biggest concern. I think that's the most stupidest thing I've ever seen anybody is trying to do. And Mack is pouring that wine. I like that. You know, I gotta give a shout out for that.
Yeah, I'm jealous, man. I wish I had some wine too, man.
But you know, like it's so stupid that they're protesting against a virus. It's like, why can't we all just stay home, follow the orders? You're not going to die by not going to the beach, but you will die from going out and protesting with nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say that, you know, like imagine if like Noah said, like Max said earlier, that imagine if this was the minorities protesting. Imagine the Asians, the Mexicans, the blacks. You guys seen videos on how the police are handling these protests? I saw you posted something on Twitter, Noah, saying that, you know, like where's the barricades? Where's the tear gas. You know, where's all the essential stuff to stop a protest? I can bet you anything that if it was the minorities that are pulling that shit would have broke loose.
You don't have to bet, Ben. It's been proven. Remember those riots? They started off as protests, and then they started dispersing tear gas to disperse them, then it turned into riots out in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Remember those?
Ferguson,
what was the name? Ferguson. That's what I'm
Ferguson, Missouri.
All of them. Like, you think about those, right? How many cops, how many brutalities, how many fatalities that they had during those? How many do we have now because of this?
There you go.
Just think about that. And let's just say let's say me, you, Ben, the three of us, we just go outside, just hold a sign, just pretend to be protesting. I bet you somebody will say something to us.
Mm-hmm.
Without a doubt, they'll be like, "You stupid, dumb, black, Asian, and Mexican, get your asses home."
No, not even get your asses home. It's go back to where you belong to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my house.
Yeah, you mean Huntington Beach down the street?
yeah. That's where I belong.
Yeah.
That's why I pay rent for it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I guess, just seeing the different videos from those like Huntington Beach scenes, it just really upset me that man, that so many people, like the cops were just all standing there, not saying or doing a damn thing about it, and just letting these people. That's how a protest should go. That's how Ferguson, Missouri should have gone. That's how the protests in New York, Los Angeles, Detroit, wherever there have been protests, that's how they should have been, right? It should have been. It was a peaceful. It started off as peaceful, and nothing ever happened. But you see, obviously with different ethnicities, they start throwing the tear gas. They have the riot shields, and it just gets out of hand. The hoses and everything, bro. And it's so just to see them kind of just like walking with the people they were trying to block PCH in that part. I don't know if it was Main Street. It looked like from the video I saw. But
it was PCH in Main, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, there's people out on the street, with the signs blocking traffic, and cops just out there standing doing nothing, making sure they're not, being violent. But it's a totally different scene, man. Totally different scene.
Did you guys read the tweet that our leader in chief posted?
Now, what he say?
He said, "Oh, those people are really good people. You guys should just open back up and let our good people get back to work." And the news lady, the mayor, was it the mayor? I think it was the mayor of Michigan. She said, "Yeah, there might be some good people in there, but once you're walking around with swastikas, the Confederate flag, and assault rifles, you're not good people anymore. You're out there to do harm with masks, with full-blown Kevlar mask on. You're out there to do some harm. Mm-hmm. So you say whatever you want to say, Mr. President, but no, these are not good people." That's what she said. And I was like, I clapped for her, because at the end of the day, man, it's people don't see what everybody else is seeing. They just see what they want to see. It's tunnel vision all the way. Like people who are saying coronavirus is fake. How is it fake?
Yo, so with one of the very first video of the protest, did you guys see how this guy was wearing a whole suit, protecting everything from top to bottom, and he's holding a sign that said the coronavirus ain't real? Mm-hmm. Like, if the coronavirus ain't real, then take that damn suit off.
Yeah, right. I think is crazy. Like, say what you want about Trump, I'm not a big fan of him, but I think that the part that bothers me the most is like the rhetoric that he's preached in his time as running for president and then being the president, and spreading just the fear that everything is fake news, right? Like I get that there are legitimate stuff like The Onion and other websites that do just put out stuff and that are a lot of times incorrect and are just meant to get clicks, but not everything is fake news. And when you have the CDC, like people that are in charge of, controlling like diseases and of mass populations and stuff like this. And this has been going on. I mean, if you follow the news, at least internationally, and this has been going on in Wuhan since like early January, maybe even like February.
Supposedly
it started all the way in like October.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Supposedly the very first cases was October, November,
okay.
and supposedly they got it under control ever since, until it broke out. And then Trump came out and said that, oh, it's not my responsibility that this broke out like this.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's nonsense because like, what's it called? The CDC or whoever, somebody in his like the health department for him, they told him, they were like, you need to do something about this. That was like way before the pandemic, before all of this. Like they told him in early to late November. They told him, they were like, hey, you need to start prepping, start doing whatever you got to do to get people to be safe. And then it took people dying in Florida, I said Florida, in the US for him to be like, nobody told me.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was like, oh, that's fake news. Let's fire him because he never told me. That's fake news.
Yeah. Now
And then
go ahead.
and what's the stupid shit about Trump saying that, like, oh, about the injecting disinfectant stuff was gonna get rid of the coronavirus thing. I mean, obviously, if you were any ordinary normal human being, we know not to inject any of that bullshit. And then there's people actually out here that's doing that shit. And then Trump came out afterwards and said that, oh, it was sarcastic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like they just gotta take this dude's phone away. Like he should the fact that he, to be honest, I mean, the fact that they still let him do public speeches like live, like on live television, is still alarming to me, and I think that speaks volumes as to like how much trouble this country is in. Because I think if Trump was really like a puppet, what I mean, like, and he was saying all this dumb shit, like like someone in control would be like, yo, like, let's get this guy off the fucking air, like let's take him off Twitter, like, let's just take his phone away, like, you know what I mean? But the fact that they're still letting him, yeah, like, go ahead.
But instead of they're like Trump.
Yeah.
I don't know. This dude, like, this is like one of the first presidents that I've ever seen use social media so blatantly to express his, whether it's disdain, approval, whatever it is. He uses it vividly, and he doesn't really give a crap. He'll let you know straight up, all right, you know what? This person should be fired. Bro, you're not in The Apprentice anymore. You can't be firing people left and right like that. He's so used to firing people. How many people has he fired since he's been elected in his own office?
Too many to count.
Right? And then you go back in those days when Obama was in office, when the breakout of anthrax came out, when Ebola came out, what happened? He took the proper precautions. He told people, hey, I know it's gonna be tough. We could get through it if we just follow certain guidelines. And then how many people died from that? Not that many, because that shit was snipped like that. It was less than 4 months that it was gone. But now with this, it's going on almost 3 months now, maybe 4 months, that it's been like people have been paying really close attention to it. So now people are paying attention, but they're not paying attention. They're just like, oh yeah, the news is telling me it's killed 1,000 people. Prove it to me. It's killed 1 million people. Prove it.
Yeah, and I think for people too, at least like in my immediate family, I don't really know anyone that's been affected, right? So I think I can see why there are people who are ignorant enough to think that, hey, like, it hasn't hit any of my family, hasn't hit any of my friends, hasn't hit any of my coworkers. So why should I believe this? Granted, maybe they don't know where to look, like on particular news websites, or I guess they don't understand what's the word I'm looking for? Like the complexity of this, you know what I mean? The fact that even though it doesn't hit us at home, I feel like, I was talking with a friend the other day too, I feel like in 10 years, we're going to know out of our 10 friends, like 7 of them are going to have someone who passed away in their family or in their close friend group due to coronavirus, right? Like it's just going to be like that in the future. We're all going to remember this time. Because I don't think after the protests and stuff like this in California, I don't see this getting any better in the next month. As hopeful as they try to be, I just don't see it getting any better, guys.
You want to know why it won't get any better?
Why?
Airlines are still open. So people are traveling and in and out of planes. So that means if you're not a carrier, you're going to pick it up at an airplane. Or if you don't show symptoms, but you have it, you're going to walk in the plane, come all the way to wherever the hell you're going, and you're going to meet somebody who's going to give it to them. or whoever's sitting next to you is gonna get it, right? And this brings me to my next topic, which is the whole freaking opening of states early. Atlanta, Georgia, they tried that shit. What happened? The first day they
1,000 new
opened,
case.
on the first day, not just like it took like 2 days, a day and a half. No, first day, 1,000 cases off rip.
New cases. New
New
cases. Make sure new cases. It's important to put the new cases in there because not only that these people already have it, 1,000 new cases
in one freaking day, and then now Texas is open too.
Mm-hmm.
And Texas has restaurants open. People are sitting down having dinners. And I'm like, yeah, I ain't traveling no time soon. Like, no, I'm good. I'm cool. I'm gonna wait. Even if I gotta wait all the way to August, I will.
Oh yeah.
Because at the end of the day, man, my safety matters. Your guys' safety matters. Like people are not thinking. They just want to be out and about and living life. I get it. It sucks. It really sucks. Like, who wants to be home? I'm used to going out on Friday nights, Saturday nights, doing my thing, getting my Tina on, But I get it. I got to sacrifice a little bit to get more. It's a give and take kind of situation right now.
So just to kind of go back what Mack was saying, I just think it's again, I was talking about with my girlfriend the other day, going back to the very beginning of this coronavirus stuff, right? When they first closed a lot of things down, schools, churches, sports, everything, right? Do you think it was right for them to be like, hey, let's only do this a month at a time? And then like when that month came up, they're like another month, kind of doing a month at a time basis? Or would it have been better or worse if they just been like, hey, we got to shut down for 8 months, like 8 months, and then we can go back to living? What would you guys rather have preferred?
I would have rather legitimately, like if they straight up just shut everything down. I don't care what it was, grocery stores, whatever, just shut everything down for like at least a month. So that way, like everybody's home. Mm-hmm. There's nobody in the streets, nothing. Like everybody's home. And then after the month, then transition slowly into like opening the necessities, like what they call essential workers. You could start opening those up again. And then, because it spread too fast. It's spreading way too fast. Mm-hmm. If we had nipped it right there in the bud, just stopped the clamoring, the people gathering and all that stuff, it probably would have ended a lot faster than it is now.
Yeah, to answer your question too, yes. Like I would rather go month to month to check the status, like the day-to-day basis on the statistics, because shutting everything to inform the people to shut down for 8 months, that would lead to hella more protests, and that was just instead of keeping them home, it's gonna force them out even more, because there's like, oh, there's no way am I gonna survive back at home for 8 months.
Yeah, it would have caused chaos, right? It would have been like I mean, I don't want to say it would have been like an apocalyptic world and people would have, like zombie land type thing, but like, people would have started taking matters into their own hands and start just like, you start seeing like robbing, that kind of stuff. So it is tough but I think bigger picture, maybe not 8 months, maybe that was too long of a thing, but like realistically, I think if everything and everyone was okay with like the government shutting everything down for 4 to 5 months, I think that would have been a lot better for like the spread of the COVID-19 and everything, rather than doing this month thing, because it was very passive aggressively how they did it too, right? I mean, they got rid of sports in school and all that stuff first. And they're like, oh, like you could still go out and do certain things just like, 6 feet away. It's like, nah, I think ultimately like you got to just tell people to stay inside and not go anywhere, even though it will suck. I think long term, if you do keep doing this month by month, keep doing month by month, I think that's what also leads to these protests that we saw in Huntington Beach and in other parts of Orange County in the state, is that people are anxious now, right? Because for the past 2 months, they've been told, oh, we only got a couple more weeks. And then, boom, they get hit with another month. Oh, we only got a couple more weeks of this month. Boom, we got hit with another month,
Right. And that's the thing, like the way it's spreading, realistically, they really can't put a timestamp on it. They can't. They should just be like, all right, we're gonna break it down every other week. Whatever we see, we'll let you know. So that way, if you're gonna be able to go out, if you're gonna be able to do this, you're gonna be able to do that. But them just literally like throwing it at us like the day of, all right, so today you have to stay. Nobody could do this. The beaches are closed. I get why I get what people are protesting. I get it, but it's just stupid because if they say no social gathering, social distancing, all of that, and you're out there like protesting because the beach is closed, then you don't care about your own health at this point.
You don't care about nobody's health
or your community's
really.
health. Yeah,
right. Like, I don't even want to, like, I leave my house every day. I go to work and I get home and I get to work and I'm like, do I really want to be here? Do I really want to be here? Do I really want to be here? Because people are coming in and out. I don't know where they've been. I don't know who they come in
at
contact
the beach.
With. Right? So I have to be mindful for myself. This is the new America. This is the new America right now. Like, you got to wear a mask everywhere you go. Like, I walk outside my house, I got a mask on. You know, I'm not saying like, oh, I'm not scared or I'm scared. No, I'm just taking precautions. I got to protect myself. I live with other people too, and I don't want to get them sick. And next thing you know, one of them has a weak immune system and they pass. What happened? That's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't know how. I mean, you know how like active you've been yourself, right? You know how much people you've been around, maybe like your good friends or family. But like you said, if you're working at a store and you're interacting with a bunch of different customers each day, over hundreds probably. I mean, there's no telling on where they've been, people they've seen, whether they're at the protests and around 100 people or whether they were just at home playing video games all day. You can't tell. There's no way to tell.
I have someone that I know, shall remain nameless, just for for reasons. Her grandma went to go visit family members, and they had the virus, but they didn't show the symptoms, right? And then grandma picked it up, and what happened? Grandma passed away because grandma has a lower immune system, And I'm not saying they went out or they didn't go out. I don't know what happened. I don't know the whole story, but the point is that the people you come in contact with are the ones like, are you sure like you could be in contact with them, especially if you don't know about like their immune system, their environment, what they've been through, what they've been around, and it sucks. It really sucks, like to hear somebody lose somebody so close to them, somebody they care so much about, and you're sitting there like, all right, like, do I really want to go outside? Like, I literally questioned it every single day. Do I really want to go outside?
Funny story. I actually almost came into contact with someone that has the coronavirus.
Oh, damn.
So as a college student, now that classes are all online, I hate to admit it, but almost everyone cheats now. Everything is on the web, So with the group with the individual test, we meet up with each other or we meet up on Zoom. Professors that I have, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Factual, realistic shit. You know what I mean? And this is what the show is all about, So I'm coming with you with the hard truth, Like, we all cheat, especially like with graduating students. Students not graduating, everybody's cheating now. So I had a midterm and I was gonna meet up with this guy that I met in class, and he was gonna invite one more guy. So basically, we're still maintaining our social distancing. So it's only just three of us at his house. But the other guy woke up late and couldn't make it in time so that we could all take the test together. So we stayed on FaceTime. So it was me and that guy in my class, and we were just on FaceTime trying to help each other finish the test. And midway through the test, the guy that woke up late, he said that, yo, my sister just got tested positive for the coronavirus. And that's his immediate family too. So they live together. So I hope that he went and got tested already, and hopefully he doesn't have it. But imagine if he woke up late and came, everybody at that house would have interacted with him, and we all would have gotten it.
Damn, that's all bad, man. You escaped a close one, man.
Yeah, for sure. He couldn't even finish the test, and I feel so sorry for him, because his sister just got married too, actually.
Oh man.
Yeah, I got one of my homegirls. Like me and her, we cool. Like we usually check on each other every once in a while, and then I usually when I text her, like she usually like texts me back. If it's not the same day, she'll text me back the next day. And then she went 3 weeks. I didn't hear nothing. And then she was like, "Yeah, I was dying. I was like trying to fight for my life. I was on a ventilator."
Dang.
And I was like, "Damn." I'm like, "What does it feel like?" She's like, "It's like an elephant sitting on your chest." Yeah, and you can't breathe. You can't do nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Like they tell you that's the most important thing to do through this thing is you have to breathe. You have to be able to breathe on your own.
Mm-hmm.
They'll give you a system, but you have to be able to have, you know, breathing techniques.
Mm-hmm.
And she could not do that. Like she barely made it. Like barely made it. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that it sucks. Like when you know people that they're gonna go through it, and you just like sitting here and calling this virus fake still. Watch one of your family members get it. Now, how would you feel? You know?
Yeah, and it's weird to say because I don't want to say like I'm wishing bad things to happen to those people who protest, but I just wish they had more of a reality check. You know what I mean? I wish
Right.
even if it's just us or someone showing them videos of people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19 or are fighting in the hospitals, or like just communicating with those kind of people. And who knows, they might be still ignorant and not pay attention to them, and still may not think that it's fake or whatever, but. I mean, at least you tried, or at least there was an effort to be. The attempt was made to convince these people otherwise. Because, I mean, just to say this whole thing is fake. I mean, this has been not just in the U.S., bro. This has been in like the entire the world.
The whole
Yeah,
world.
they shut down Italy. You know what I mean? Like Italy got shut down hardcore, and like they got hit hardcore too with a lot of deaths. So I mean, this is, and I know California has had a big number of cases. But like New York City got it really bad too in the beginning too. So I mean, we're very fortunate, and the part of the country we live hasn't been as highly affected as some other parts of the world. But I also think that that leads to a lot of the ignorance of the people protesting and thinking that it's fake.
See, at
And
least the number in New York are dropping though.
Yeah.
We've heard about New York this, New York that within the first few weeks of this outbreak of the coronavirus. But what have we heard from New York within the last 2 to 3 weeks? Numbers have been dropping for them because they've been listening.
Mm-hmm.
well, yeah, they just recently released the last person who was diagnosed with COVID from the hospital, like literally 2 days ago, the day of the protest for Huntington Beach. They just released the last person.
Wow.
You know,
Good
so that
shit.
goes to show like it can work. It can work. You just gotta literally just listen for a little bit. I'm not saying you have to literally listen for like forever, just for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit longer.
Yeah, and it sucks because we live in California, and there's already just doing some research. There's a few counties, Yuba County and Sutter County, and then Modoc or Mata County. I don't know how to say that one, but there's three
They're
counties.
cousins.
They're basically in the Northern California area, but they're reopening up tomorrow, Monday, May 4th, against California Governor Gavin Newsom's orders, against CDC orders. So they're opening back up stores, schools, churches, everything back to normal, even though this is way too early. So I think that's crazy. It's a bad sign. Hopefully the county that we live in doesn't do the same, but I mean it's only time will tell.
But what's crazy about all of this? Like the first responders, the nurses and doctors, they don't get enough credit. And
Mm.
I'm gonna say this on here because they don't get enough credit. I have my cousin's wife who's a nurse, and she's a first responder. She's risking her life. There's this thing out there. There's this mom who's a first responder, being in contact with all these people. She comes home. I mean, she tries to sanitize as much as she can. She got in I think her 4-year-old daughter, and her 4-year-old contracted COVID, and she died right away.
Damn.
Like it literally didn't last. Like she took like maybe a day, and then she was gone.
Mm-hmm.
That goes to show like these people are putting their life at risk. They're putting their families at risk. They're losing time with their family. They're losing time a lot. There's a lot of suicide like that's been happening between doctors and nurses because they can't handle it. They really can't handle it because that they watch people die left and right, and that breaks their heart. So they can't handle the fact that they have to go and tell the families, "Hey, we couldn't save them. We couldn't save her. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that." You know.
And I think a lot of times too, it's not just so much what they experience at work, but it's like the fact that they can't go home. And if they have kids, they can't, interact with the kid, or they're scared to, right? They can't interact with their husbands or their wives or just their family, the people that they live with, because, you're interacting with sick people all day.
Right. So that's why, like, certain people need to, I'm not saying don't be ignorant, because people are going to be ignorant. Like, you can't control that. But at least be mindful when you're being ignorant, because there are people out there. Like, there was a protest that I watched where people were actually going at nurses who were standing outside trying to block their protest. They went at them. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, these are people who are putting their lives at risk to, save all of our loved ones. And you're over here like getting in their faces, cussing at them, calling them dumb bitches, dumb mother. Like, where? Who raised them?
Yeah. So, okay, that brings me to a good point, because I want to ask you guys a question. If you had the chance to meet one of those protesters, the people who thinks this coronavirus is fake, the people that are, protesting out in front of hospitals and telling shit to the nurses and whatnot, I mean, what I guess are some of the words that you would tell them to kind of try and change their mind?
I feel like you really can't change their mind, but you could educate. That's the least we could do, is educate them. Like, sit them down and be like, hey, I'm not gonna try to change your mind, but I could show you my side of the world. It's almost like two people who like don't really mesh well, like oil and vinegar. That don't go well together. But if you put them down, each one explains their side. You don't have to 100% agree with what I'm telling you or what you're telling me, but at least we could come to a compromise and be like, hey, all right, I've been educated, you've been educated on my side of it. Now we could do whatever we want to do about it,
Yeah, like, I feel like they don't know what's really going on. Like, I'm trying to look up this video that I sent you guys, and about how they're protesting and they're calling them unethical, disgusting, fake nurses, and actresses. Like, I make them watch a video of like the people inside the hospital that are suffering. I feel like is the best way to change these people's mind, if they're even able to do that. Once you have a closed mind, you're basically gonna have a closed mind. You know what I mean? If I think Kobe is better than Jordan, Kobe is always going to be better than Jordan.
Yeah.
So it's up to the individual if they want to walk in with an open mind, or they're just going to be biased within a particular side already. And like Max said, there's nothing that you can really do about that, unfortunately, which is really sad.
Yeah, it is sad. I think the angle I would try and take is, like, I remember those commercials to prevent people from smoking cigarettes, right? They would have that person who did used to smoke cigarettes, had lung cancer, and now they talk through one of those, I forgot what they're called, but they talk through those things right here on their neck. And that's how they do everything, right? They can't communicate normally because of their cigarette addiction. So I think, if you do something similar to that, where if you had like people go in with cameras and, obviously it'd be a different process, and I'm not sure how exactly you can go about it, but, people who are on their COVID, who have been diagnosed with COVID-19 on their deathbeds, not looking too good, kind of have them share their story. Like, hey, I thought I was invincible. I went out to the beach, or I went out, just to see some friends, and then this hit me. And, I think that will hit home more than, just showing some videos or showing the facts or numbers and stuff like that. Because, if you bring someone from, like, that's the biggest thing where that smoking cigarettes commercial, all cigarette smokers think, oh, that's not gonna happen to me, but then they see an ex-cigarette smoker like have that happen to them, and they're like, oh shit, that could be me. So have something similar like that, kind of portrayed right in front of them.
I'm gonna hit you. I love everything you just said, right? But I'm gonna hit you with. I'm gonna like flip it real quick on you. Okay.
Yeah.
Think about everything you just said, and think about saying that to somebody who believes in our president and says, "Oh yeah, that's fake news." Like I could bring somebody who survived COVID, right? Bring it to them and have them explain everything, show them records, everything.
Yeah.
What are they gonna say? Fake news. Fake
Actors,
news. You know what I'm saying?
actresses.
Like we could try anything in the world. It's all about like I said, tunnel vision. If they have that tunnel vision, that's all they're gonna see. Like they don't care about your mama, your daddy, your cousins, your aunties. They just want to know like, hey, I want to be outside. I want to hold my assault rifle. I want somebody to tell me something about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
I feel that.
How would you guys feel if like California just said, all right, fuck it, since up north, Monrovia or wherever you were talking about in the northern Cal.
Yeah, the different counties.
Let's say all of California open tomorrow. How would you guys feel?
I to be honest, I wouldn't go outside or go to any public settings for a long time. Like especially if I see like massive crowds going back, like I would stay the hell in still, because you don't know where these people have been, and like you said, this virus could still mutate for sure, like 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going anywhere until there's record that they have developed a cure for this pandemic.
Well, they said that they don't have a cure, but
as
they
of
have
right
something
now.
that slows it down to 2 weeks. That brings it down to 2 weeks rather than the whole like 4 weeks or whatever. So that's what I was watching on the news the other day. That's what the reporter said. He said they're coming up with something that shortens the time rather than you spending the whole amount of time that you're going through for the 4 weeks that you go through dealing with it. Why not just create a cure?
Exactly.
I think, yeah, I'm not like a biologist or chemist or whatever, but I feel like you can build vaccines, but you can't build like 100% cure. And I think the vaccines will help you fight it, and like that's what they're trying to go for. But just like from the different movies and like documentaries I watched, like stuff like the coronavirus, there's no way to like 100% get rid of it. Like you can just kind of like you said, you can either slow it down or stop it, but you can't like eliminate it.
Somebody, I don't remember who I was talking to. Somebody who I was talking to, they said something to me, and I thought about it. You know how they use like what's they called? The cells that they use to recreate skins and stuff.
Ooh, I know what you're talking about. Is it stem cells?
Stem cells. You know how they use stem cells to recreate skin or whatever. Certain people who go
any
through
organ,
strokes.
yeah.
Right. So somebody told me like, how about they take the plasma, not the blood, the plasma from somebody who survived COVID, because technically they already built the antibodies for it, right? And then you could inject people with it, and then their body could start building the antibodies. I thought about that. One, it could be risky because that person could have an alternate reaction to it, right?
Oh yeah.
But it could also help save lives.
Yeah.
But I feel like they should try something. Like whoever said that to me, I don't remember who it was, but it was like I thought about it, you know.
I know they did that with the NBA player Donovan Mitchell. As soon as he was cleared from COVID-19, he donated blood, and he announced that they were gonna try and develop something like that. But like you said too, I mean, when you get a vaccine, like whether it's like chickenpox or whatever it may be, like you kind of get a little sick afterwards, right? But it's your body kind of like getting used to that small, essentially dosage of the sickness or the virus that's in you. But then it, like you said, it develops antibodies to fight it. But that's not like, some people do get really sick from vaccines. So that's a danger of something like this catastrophic, as big as is COVID-19 and the coronavirus, is that, man, like, you can be like, have good intentions, but there'll be a few people out there that do get the vaccines and then will get sick and eventually like pass away. And then that's going to just like, tick off people who already don't believe in vaccines, which is a lot of people who don't believe in like, who do believe like this coronavirus is fake and that support Trump and stuff like that,
Right.
You guys know what I just thought of?
What's up?
Who doesn't vaccinate their kids?
A lot of parents.
Ignorant people?
Probably the
Yeah.
probably the same people that are protesting right now
Yeah.
because they don't believe in vaccination. So
Yeah. No, I know. Process of elimination. I kind of get what you're saying.
whew, I I feel like at this point it's natural selection. I hate to say, but at this point, it's the strongest survives and the weakest just dies off.
Mm-hmm.
As fucked up as that sounds, it is what it is.
Yeah. No, yeah, like that's survival of the fittest, right? Charles Darwin and his whole experiment with the island and stuff. So, I mean, like you said, it does sound kind of fucked up to say it because you're like, oh, well, we got to get rid of these people in order to advance
Yeah,
our society. But maybe, I don't know, there's a lot of positives to think about this coronavirus and what it's done for the world as far as like cleaning up the environment and whatnot. But I mean, who knows? Maybe that's another positive that comes out of it too. Natural selection, survival of the fittest.
Like this reminds me of like the plague.
Mm-hmm.
The Black Death.
Yeah, back in Europe.
Yeah, like if you think about it
1800s.
like that, yeah, in the 1800s, like when people,
I think it was,
like people were dying left and right, they
yeah,
had nothing. Doctors knew nothing. They
yeah,
didn't know what to do, blah blah blah. But I feel like for us, like we're kind of somewhat in better shape because we have the technological advances. We have the doctors who, like specify in those kind of like things. And I
mm-hmm.
feel like we have a better chance if we just follow what we need to follow.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And I think, man, I hope we are on the better side of history because I just remember, I know it was before the 1800s. I want to say it was like the 1200s or 1100s. But I
I'll
know,
tell you
like,
right now.
yeah, go look it up, Mac. But it wiped out a huge, like, there was a Roman civilization and, like, things were kind of advanced. Like, civilizations were pretty advanced. But once this Black Death hit, once the Black Plague hit, like, it set, like, the whole human civilization back, like, 500 years, right? And it was
Yeah.
until, like, I think it was until, like, 1400s when the Renaissance started coming up. And that's when people were starting to get back to more, like, civilized culture. I mean, I remember learning about that in history. It was like this was civilization. It was progressing forward, forward, forward. The Black Plague hit, and it was like, whoa, we went fucking way back, and then we had to like work our way back. So hopefully, people kind of learn from that example, and we can be on top of this so it doesn't set us way the fuck back.
Well, see, the Black Plague started in 1342 to 1353, and 75 to 200 million people in Eurasia and North Africa died.
Damn, 200 million? That's crazy. 200 million? That's a huge, like they couldn't even identify the exact number. That's like that's a huge gap.
Right, from 75 to 200. Like, that's like a whole 125 in between.
Yeah. Fuck.
I mean, why 1342 to 1353 is now trending.
It's trending?
Yeah, it actually
Interesting.
is. It's trending.
Oh, no.
Interesting. How does this correlate with what we're undergoing right now?
Yeah, I
This
mean,
isn't the Black Plague, but this is
mhm.
the White Plague.
Yeah.
This is the White Plague.
Yeah, this is
Because
just,
I mean, go ahead, Noah.
I was gonna say, we're lucky that it is not killing people at the rate the Black Plague was, because we would see people just being dropped dead in the streets, and that would be like, that would cause pandemonium. That would cause people to panic and be hectic in the streets and wild out. But I mean, we're lucky that's just like still relatively contained, that only a small percentage of people pass.
But I was watching this movie the other day. You guys probably seen it. I know you guys have seen it. I Am Legend with Will Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Think about it. Think about that movie. How like one person gets infected with something, and then like as soon as like it become like a really bad pandemic, everybody wanted to get off the island,
Mm-hmm.
and then people started dying left and right.
Mm-hmm.
And then he was the only survivor because he was immune to it. I wonder if there is a person who is immune to COVID. I'm wondering.
I'd be interested to see. Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the future, man. That's all we can hope for. I hope it doesn't get to the I Am Legend part of the movie towards the end where it's just like him and his dog. Because I don't know if I have that kind of skill set, man. I'm kind of nervous. I got to start working
But
on
if
how to
you
make knots and shit.
how to make what?
Knots and like just basic survival skills, like Boy Scout kind of things, you know? What were you
But
gonna
I don't
say?
know how we'd be. I don't know how we would survive though
Mm-hmm.
if it got that bad, because people aren't listening now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like if something like, let's just say people were literally walking in front of them, dying, literally just falling straight out, dying in front of them, they'd be like, "Oh, heart attack." You know, like
Mm-hmm.
people are stubborn. I'm
Yeah.
stubborn as hell. I
Yeah.
know I am. But at the end of the day, I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong and when I'm right. You
Yeah.
know, but some people, like, they just don't care. They're right all the time, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah. They're stubborn until it's like the problem that presents itself is right in front of them. You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, like you've been diagnosed, or hey, like everyone has, everyone has this, and we're now all like freaking, I Am Legend, like zombies, shit like that.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like we're a lot more ahead than the Black Plague, because we have the technology, like I said, available to us, and we have the doctors that are working days in and days out trying to figure out what they could do to save lives and stop it from spreading. And this is where, like, it gives us an advantage, because the Black Plague, the doctors were just learning day to day.
Yeah.
They don't know. They didn't have the equipments that we had or none of that. They were just going by feel.
Right. No internet, nothing like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So
All right. So it says we
I
got
feel like social media killed us.
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. You guys want to do that last cut that shit out segment?
So for those of you out there protesting and limiting our time that we could spend to be outside later, and probably eventually bringing out the United Nations, the forces, what do they call them?
Armed forces, military,
Armed forces, the military,
National
getting
Guard.
National Guard. That's what I was talking
Yeah.
about. Thank you.
Okay.
If you get National Guards come out here, then they shut everything down. I just need you protesters to do me one favor, like just one tiny favor. Cut that shit the fuck out, like, for real.
Hey. All right. So my segment is going to be, I understand why you guys are protesting. I get it. I truly do. But I've been reading a lot of stuff where people are comparing that the same fight, like they're protesting, their protests and what they're fighting for is at the same level of Rosa Parks, MLK, and comparing themselves to those social justice warriors from the civil rights movement back in the 60s. I don't care how the fuck sad you are that you're trapped inside and whatnot, or how sad you are because of COVID-19. You need to cut that shit out, because this is not the same thing. Not at all.
Yeah. For those of you guys who are protesting, those who are on that Trump shit, cut that shit out. But that's a whole topic to discuss another day. But keep that Trump shit. But stay home. There's the nurses, the doctors we're all trying to do our part here. And you're not improving any better if by protesting for the beach to be open. Cut that shit out, bruh.
All right, perfect, man. Well, for myself, Noah, Mac, Ben, thanks again for listening to another episode of Cut That Shit Out.
Stay safe out there, y'all.